Hello, people. How are we doing today? Yes, so we have been talking about black tax and how to put yourself in a place where it doesn't disrupt your growth, and how also to help yourself in in your in your journey to wealth creation and preservation. Now, of course, we already know what black tax is. It's that money that flows out of your pocket pretty regularly to friends, families, and people who, in one way or the other, feel that because of their relationship with you and because you're doing well, in quotes, then they are entitled to be partakers of that. But largely in Africa, we have seen that a lot of people are held down by this black tax of a thing. It keeps them, moving in circles. And here's some of the ways I personally have been able to um, evade and put black tax under control. Now, the truth is there's a high chance that you cannot completely escape it, but then you have to prepare yourself to be able to manage and control its effect on your growth. And one of those ways is first by putting your financial system in a way that it creates a structure of accountability. So, for example, every month there's a fixed amount or within a particular framework that I've agreed with my wife, and my children that we must stay within. Now, that means that everything we're doing, all our expenses, all our everything that we're doing financially must fall within that framework. In other words, we cannot do charity outside the boundaries of what has been set. So, for example, we have a charity budget of, say, 100K for a month. Anytime that amount is exhausted, it means that there's no more charity for that month. Now, in one of the previous videos, I mentioned that you also have to, be ruthless when it comes to protecting your growth because many of us have gotten into debt, trying to help family members or friends, and those things have put us on a downward spiral. And most of the time, when we fall into that cycle, there's usually nobody to rescue. And then you have resentment towards these people, wondering why they did not come to your rescue when you needed help. Meanwhile, you were, the one who was there for them when they needed help. And that is why you have to always remember that the fact that you're good to other people does not mean they're always going to be good to you. And that is something that must sink into your brain. And it doesn't mean that you should stop being good. I've always said that as stingy as people say I am, I'm still one of the most generous people around. I can tell most of my friends and my family can tell you how generous. And in fact, when I do the math, I know that I have given so much away, than most people have given me in return. And another way I think you can also manage this black tax of a thing is by having what I call managed expectations. Now, some of us, we are in the habit of putting our lives out there. We always put ourselves out for everybody to see what we're doing, what we're up to. We want to show the world that we are winning and all of that. I think you have to read the room. You have to look at where you're coming from. There's certain things that nobody should know, even if you feel because social media has made it possible for you to put your life on blast, and the side effect is you would have to deal with a lot of. I remember a friend of mine who took a picture in somebody else's car and posted it, on his WhatsApp status, and then people started billing him, and even family members, started billing him out of that, thinking that, oh, this guy has arrived, he has bought a Benz, and but the problem with that is that you're going to then attract a lot of bad blood because people will feel that you have, but you don't want to share. Yes. And remember that people who are already entitled will not even think about your own problems. They will assume that you are doing what you're doing and refusing to be of help, even if some of them have never been of any benefit to you, and that's why it's so important for you to manage expectations, manage information. We're not saying you should lie, but why should you buy a new shoe and put it on your status or put it on your social media? And then you wonder why everybody is always on your neck for one thing or the other, you know. I think many of us need to clean up our social media, and social media is there for you to take in information and learn, not to put yourself in trouble. I know no matter what I say, some people, they're never going to change. They feel like, if I'm enjoying life, everybody should know. Well, if that's working for you, you can keep doing that, yes. But in my experience, I believe that when you're in the building phase of your life, you need to go into hiding. You remember when Jesus was going to go into ministry, there was a period that he disappeared. And that is what many people need to do, especially young people. You need to go disappear for a period, however long it is for you. There's a period in my life when I was making money every day, but the things that I loved, I did not touch them. I love shoes so much. And most of the time when I go into a mall where there are shoes, I will turn my face the other way, just because I didn't want to be drawn into, making some expenses at that stage. But of course, now I have shows all over the place, and that tells you that there's a season for everything. There's a season to spend lavishly, there's a season to, you know, shut down expenses and focus on building your savings, building your investment, and this is so important, especially for young people out there. You need to understand the importance of disappearing for a while. Nobody needs to know about your new shoe. Nobody needs to know about the designers you're wearing or the lack of it. Nobody needs to know. In fact, nobody cares. You think people care, all those likes and comments, at the end of the day, nobody really cares. And that's why it's important for you to focus on yourself. Now, after you've managed expectations, it's also important for you not to carry responsibilities that are not yours. So, the school fees of your siblings and so many other things like that, they're not your responsibility. I understand if your parents are late or if they're incapacitated, but even at that, you have to take only as much as you can, because if you take more than you can take, you're going to kill any opportunity for you to grow. And that means that you're going to be a liability in the future. That's why you see a lot of people in their old age, they are not valuable. Nobody, they have to rely on other people to take care of them, and this is very common, in Africa. And that's why it's so important for you to take your time to build a strong foundation, build your financial foundation so that whatever you're building on, it can sustain itself for years to come. And it is so important for you to also understand the value of delayed gratification. Yes, because sometimes the black tax is not even just external people, it's just you trying to fulfill your ego, your ego that makes you feel like, oh, you're in charge when you give other people, so you have to put yourself under check as well. So we'll continue in the next video. Have a wonderful day. Cheers.